Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Xbox Life episode 440, 1 week later. And what I mean by 1 week later, it has been 1 week since not only Microsoft giving their conference, but, we've been through a full week of E3. I am one of your hosts, Brun, BJ Swick 33, and along with me is Mark Wingman 709.
Greets, everybody.
And Rob is being punished for not getting the episode out fast enough last week. So
That's right.
so he's not on the show, but he still has to post it. So, that's the way we
And
roll.
Hammer, baby.
Yep. And he's not getting paid for last week. So take that, Rob. So, but we got a show for you. We're going to play it by ear. Could be long, could be short. We don't know because there was a lot of stuff, and we'll just get to it. But like always, we are on twitch.tv/this Xbox Life, 10 p.m. Eastern, every Sunday is typically when we try to start our show, and we usually go for about an hour. And then on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how the audio is and how fast Rob can get to it, it posts out to your favorite MP3 or podcast stations, or I guess, or however you want to say it, applications, iTunes, and stuff like that. But that's it for that. And we get to go. Now, last week we didn't do what we've been playing, but this week we are. So I'll let you go first, Mark.
All right. So I'm going to start off on a different console. Actually, started making use of my PlayStation 3, believe it or not. And I went back and played a game I got free way back in the day when the whole, oh, we've released all your credit card information and personal information to sources unknown. I got I got the game Infamous. And I remember it was a game that I tried back then, and it was kind of like right off the bat, for some reason, I didn't like it. I think it was the controls, and again, I always struggle with the PlayStation controller, but I tried it again, went back to it, and this game is a lot of fun. I still have issues with the controls, just because I don't like the thumbsticks like right on top of each other. I think it makes it harder to move, and just I don't like it, but I'm used to the Xbox controller. However, I am playing it. I really like it, and it's kind of reminiscent of Crackdown in a way.
Yeah, I could see that.
Sorry, my computer's acting up on me. And it is. It's. I mean, it's different, but there's it's got a similar type of feel. With you've got powers, and you can kind of just go up and down buildings and fly, and all your powers are electric based. And it's a lot of fun. Sorry, I'm having my I don't know what's going on. My like I'm muting to cough, and then every time I cough on my screen, it's like if you do like an alt tab on Windows, you know how everything like your windows get small so you can see like every open window. It keeps doing that. And I don't know
Huh.
why. I don't know if
Interesting.
it's weird. Probably some stupid Cortana thing. Um,
Don't say her name. You'll pay for it.
I don't know what's going on with it. There, I did it. I muted, coughed, and unmuted, and it was fine. But
Okay.
anyways, so I'm enjoying the game so much that I've actually looked up. Oh, isn't there one on PS4? And there is. There's Infamous Second Sons is on PS4. But what I found out was that there's an Infamous 2 on the PS3, and then there's like another, I think, an expansion to that also. So I've got like if after I finish this, I'm gonna have to go play like two other games before I get to the Second Son on the PS4 version. So the cool thing is now there's another franchise on PlayStation that I like other than Uncharted. Um, so yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And it's weird. It's like it's interesting. You know, when this game came out and the PlayStation 3 came out, I mean, it was just like mind blowing, like visually, right? Everything was like, wow, look at this. So I boot this up and I'm playing it. I'm like, man, this game looks like crap. you know, Compared to what the PS4 and the Xbox One. You go back and it's like, ooh, this looks brutal. But it was kind of funny because it was so good at the time. But really enjoying Infamous. Can't believe I missed out on this, but I'm playing it now and probably going to be playing through the whole franchise. I also bought Uncharted 4 because it was on sale for like $20 last week during E3.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and Uncharted, I've played 1 through 3, and on my PS4, I bought the 1 through 3 collection, and I was gonna play through those, and then when I wanted to kind of replay them again and then play Uncharted 4, but it came out for $20. I'm like, oh, I'm getting it, boom! So, um, I nabbed that sucker right away, and I actually started playing through it, and it looks amazing. It's Uncharted. I've played the first 2 chapters, I think, in that. So, so I'm working on that one slowly. What's kept me from really diving into it is the also what happened during E3 week was the Forza Horizon 3. It's not called a season pass. I think it's called the expansion pass, or there's a different name to it, but it's a season pass. We know what that is. Basically gets you the 2 DLC packs. So that there's 2 DLC packs, both are $20. You can buy the season pass for $35. Well, I'm like, I didn't buy it before because I really wasn't interested in Blizzard Mountain. The Hot Wheels one I really wanted. So I'm like, do I pay $35 to get both? Or do I just pay $20 to get the one? Well, thankfully I waited. The expansion pass was $17 this week. So I nabbed it and I got both expansion packs for less than the cost of one of them. And I got to say, the Hot Wheels one is so much fun. I know, Brun, you might not agree with me based on your comments last night, but I love this expansion pass. The very first night I was playing, it was just like, soon as I started, this smile came across my face. I felt like a kid again. This is really well done, and I've even noticed like when you're going under the track, like they got loops and stuff. So sometimes you're going under tracks, you can actually see the connectors where
Right.
where the track connects. I mean, they've got
Right.
all that kind of detail there. You're driving on their tracks. There's loops and twists and jumps that are just insane. Um, just it's just every time I play it, I'm smiling the whole time. This was done really, really well. And I'm really enjoying it. I can't say enough good things about it. Um, I also picked up a couple other DLCs. I bought the DLC, the season pass for Wildlands. I haven't jumped into that yet. I also bought the season pass for Sniper Elite 4, and they've got 2 DLC packs that are or releases that are out. I think there's going to be 3, so their first 2 are out, and I played through those 2. Absolutely loved them. It was interesting. I just love that game, and I went played through those 2, and I was like, I want to play more. Maybe I'll just replay them again, and I might. I might end up going back and replaying them, but absolutely loved them. So yeah, I think that's all I played. It's worth mentioning this week.
Cool. I have a relatively short list, like you said.
So
Uh,
you're not going to call me on that?
what on Forza?
No, you're not going to call me on that's all I played.
Oh,
I thought you'd jump on that because I
yeah.
did play one other thing.
Okay.
One other thing.
Oh
was
yes.
that
Oh, sorry.
was that
Yes, and there's
Friday?
yes, Friday night. So, how'd that start out?
You you were
Frito, let's see, Frito
there was a
and
new
I,
guy,
yeah,
Lowland.
Lowland Orphan. Yep. So I was playing Overwatch on PC because we were supposed to team up with some people at work, and then Frito came over on there, and then Lowland messaged me because he messaged me to join in. He's just like, hey, just want, and then sent me a message saying, oh, hey, I just figured I'd try, to do a party. He's, fan of the show and stuff like that. I was like, oh, give me 1 second. I was like, I'll pop on, hold on. Because when, new people come and listen to the show, we like to do stuff with our community. We don't like to leave, ignore them or anything. Um, so I
Unless they're
popped in.
Canadian.
Yeah, I popped in, and Frito popped in, and you popped in, and then who else was there? Jesus Walks a Lot, and
CeeLo.
CeeLo was in there. Um, but we jumped in, we played some Battlefield, I think Frito went to something else after that. He jumped off because I don't think he had Battlefield 1. But we had Battlefield 1 and it was fun. I had fun. It seemed like you had fun. Um,
I did. I actually enjoyed it because we had a full squad of all of us in the party of people that I've talked to or played with before, and I was able to just kind of follow you guys around and ask. I remember it was nice because I'm like I can't aim down my iron sights. Why not? Why And I'm like, guys, isn't left trigger like letting you look down your iron sights? And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't work. And someone's like, do you have your gas mask on?
yeah,
I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, push up on your D-pad, and I did, and all of a sudden,
he
my
pulls.
the guy took my gas mask off. I'm like, how did that get on?
Yeah,
I must have put it on and didn't realize it. So,
yeah.
um, but it was nice because you guys knew how to play, and I was just kind of able to tag along,
Hmm.
throw out med packs. I like playing medic in battlefields because I get points by throwing the med pack. I'm constantly just running around throwing out packs,
Yep,
hoping somebody runs over one.
yep.
But I did get some kills, and I just had a good time with you guys. It was actually fun. So
Yeah, I was actually
might
running.
have to do that again, but I've tried it by myself, and no way. I need to be like with you guys that know
Yeah,
what
and
you're
I
doing.
mean, as big as a Battlefield person I am, I still like playing the game with other people. I'm not too big on being a lone wolf because except for the rare occasion when you will get on a squad and they are squad up, like the leader is telling people where to go and they're all going, and right then and there you know, like, okay, this group's serious. And all of a sudden you're just running around with these guys, and you notice like, oh, look, I got two medics, a sniper, and an assault. I'm gonna go support. So I'll pull in support and I'll just start chucking ammo bags out left and right, and it's just like we're on the top of the list. It's just one of those things like you can tell who the squad that plays together is when they're up
Right.
toward the top of the list. Um, and
That last game
you
we
don't have
played,
to have a lot of kills. That's the thing. It kills do not matter in that game. So
that last game we played,
yeah,
I was number 2
yeah, yeah,
on our team. I'm like, but that's only probably because of the med packs, and I'm
yep,
going where you're telling me to, and I'm spawning on squad mates, and you know, and I was like, how did I end up as this like number 2 on the entire team?
yep.
I was like, that just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it does. There's other stuff you can do to help yourself out.
Yeah, like so assault. Oh, thanks for the follow. I forgot to move your picture down while I was there.
Oh,
The thing about that is, when you are playing that game, what you'll have is you'll have snipers will get kills. Assault scores most of their points by kills because they don't have like a support pack or something like that. Medics are revives and being a medic, and then support is typically by doing ammo, and get kills. And it's just that's just the way it is. Like that's how you score a bunch of points. Like if there's a time you don't want to play medic, then I would say do support, because if you're not a person that tends to get a lot of kills or anything like that, that's where you're going to score most of your big points. And Battlefield is another thing, and I learned this in Battlefield 4 more than anything. Playing with a group and playing with people that go like 72 and 5 and 60 and 1 and stuff like that. I just sit there. I was like, I don't understand how you do it, because it's not like you're sniping. You are literally running around in the thick of everything and you're doing this. And he says, well, for one, you're a good medic. I was like, well, thanks. So I'm keeping them alive. And he says it has nothing to do with shooting people. It's knowing where not to be and where to be, like where to be. Like if you just cap a point and you start pushing forward, somebody's always got to go back. And when you go back, you meet a team of people and you basically wipe them out, and then you run back. It's just knowing where to be and knowing where to shoot and things like that. So, but
yeah.
but yeah, it was fun. And actually the thing is I played Battlefield 1, and and even today I went to our this Xbox Life group and put out a um what is
Looking
it?
for group.
Looking for group. And I said, starting at 7 o'clock, going to play for about 90 minutes before get ready for for the show, and got 4 other people in there. I'm trying to think of everybody's name. We had Evil Red, Gunny Chief was in there. Jesus Walks a Lot was in there. Um, uh, uh, CFC Leo was in there. He's actually in the chat. Um, and we lost some rounds, but we won some rounds. It was a good time. I got a Trench Raider kit one time. I was like 27-8. But it's
Nice.
just you bunny hop, like you run so fast and they can take so much damage and they can heal themselves. That's the thing that kills me. They give them a med pack. So I'm like running. So I'm running at a guy with this big mallet, running at this guy, and he's like, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. And he's like reloading. I'm walking up, I'm like, crack, and I just crack him over the head and kill him. And then I throw my med pack down and heal up, and then I run after the next guy. So it took like it took a tank and 2 other guys to finally kill me.
Nice.
So,
I
but
need that.
no, it's fun to do. And plus, I'll tell you, Battlefield is a perfect example when to be using one of these things right here. And this is my Elite controller, because my paddles underneath is Do you have an Elite controller, Mark?
I do not.
Okay. So I'll turn on my Elite controller, and the top 2 paddles you can probably see here once the screen refreshes. Like, one paddle's reload, one paddle's switch weapon. So like,
Okay.
I never have to, because your right thumbstick is you looking around, right?
Mhm.
And if you have to reload, you got to take your thumb off that paddle and hit X. So what happens is you have to stop. You stop turning in a circle. You can stop turning in a circle at that point. So I can still turn in a circle and run and reload with my left finger, and then switch weapons. So when your thing clicks and he starts to reload, instead of taking my thumb off of it, which is my aim, and hit Y to switch weapons, I hit this thing and he switches weapons, and I'm aiming at him as I'm switching weapons, and I'm
Nice.
bang, 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 bang. And then
Nice.
underneath my 2 longer paddles, what is my left and right D-pad. So I throw out, like, if you throw out med packs, my
Oh,
right
that would be nice.
my right finger underneath there, I just hit it and he throws out a med pack, and then my right one throws down the other thing. So actually, in support, I run both the ammo pack you can throw and hook onto somebody, and then the
Uh-huh.
crate where you sit down. So
Right.
depending on what we're in, if I'm running, I'll throw them with my left, and then when we're in a battle inside a room, I'll drop one and throw them. So, but it's all with underneath my paddles, and I never have to take my fingers off the thumbsticks, and it's a good example of when that controller works out really well. Works really well with Titanfall too, by the way. So,
Hmm.
but
I might have to invest in one.
yeah. So I still think $199 is a good price point for that. So if you can ever get them for 99, I think that's like a time where, yeah, it's good to buy. The reason why I got one is, like I said, my story a long time ago, I kind of got it for free, so it was perfect price for me. But so yeah, Battlefield 1, that was fun playing. We'll have to do it again. But I played a round of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds on PC. We played Forza Horizon 3, the Hot Wheels edition. I like it. My thing isn't the Hot Wheels thing. Sometimes I have trouble with not Horizon, just any racing game really. The AI can go 100 miles an hour faster than you, and they can stick right to the line, and they never make a mistake,
Mhm.
unless there's 15 other cars. And it's funny watching the AI cars just bounce and crash into each other because they're all trying to fit in the same spot because they're not smart enough to know not to run into each other. But there's a couple
Well,
times.
they're drivatars, so they're following like
Yeah,
other real people's driving patterns, and if
yeah,
that's the way they drive on that track, it's trying to follow that, so it does run into someone if they're there.
yeah. Well, and the other thing is like there's a couple issues. Like, we were launched one of these times, like, I was in first or second place. I think it was who was with us when we were playing Forza?
Dirty
Dirty
Bite
Bite was
and
there. So Dirty Bite,
Brentley.
yeah, Dirty Bite was in first, I think, and I was in second. And we both hit the jump, and as we hit the jump, my car is flipping upside down, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to do about this? The game is flipping my car upside down. Like, how come it doesn't flip over upside down any other time that I'm doing this? So I had no explanation why it flipped upside down. So I can kind of understand if I was off target, left or right, like getting shot off to the left or right. But then one
Yeah.
time it's just like I got hit by an AI car and my car like came to a stop and just burned out. It was just spinning out. And then I got like stuck in a track. I couldn't fall off the track. I couldn't back up. I couldn't go forward. I was literally just stuck there and I had to quit. That was kind of bummer, but it happens, I guess.
It happens.
Yeah, it's a game. What can
Not
you do?
not all the time. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but that's all I really played.
cool.
All right. So yes, Mark is a Battlefield master now.
Far from it. I'm rank 8.
Yep.
Woo! I went from 5 to 8 though, so in just a couple
Wait,
rounds.
wait until so everybody that's listening right now. I'm probably gonna start looking for groups again because that's really fun. Um, but when double XP hits, and we can get a squad boost, you'll be ranking 2 or 3 ranks around sometimes.
Count
So,
me in.
oh yeah. But, all right. For everybody listening, before we get to our kind of our topics of the show and what we're going to discuss, there's a few ways you can support the show, and it's completely up to you. We don't expect it. But the first one is if you go to thisxboxlife.com/Patreon, you can get to our Patreon page where you can become a patron of the show. If you do, I think it's $10 a month. What we do is we invite you on the show, and an entire show for you. You get to come on and have fun and do whatever. And to be honest, if you just want to be on the show one time, you can do it for 1 month, and we'll be on the show, and then you can cancel it after that. I mean, I don't think we care. So, but
Give
we
away
used
the
to.
secrets, man.
Well, yeah. So, but
It
the
does
other,
cost money to keep this show going.
yeah. The other way, which Drino85 usually takes part in, is to go to thisxboxlife.com/donate, and that's kind of your one-time donation and stuff. And honestly, we should probably think about if people donate a certain amount, maybe letting them come on the show. We do it. I know we do it for Patreon because that's like a monthly subscription. What you're doing is you're committing to $10 a month for so on, but that can go up and down because things happen. You can't always do $10 a month, but we should think
Yeah,
about
sometimes
something.
you got to do 20 a month. I mean,
Yeah, or 100. So,
happens. Yeah.
if it's one of those things like, hey, if you, my opinion, you tip $20 one time, I think you should come on the show. But
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
yeah, but,
I think my favorite shows are when we do have someone from the community join us.
I know we used to do, and it was back in the day. We used to do the TXL was the like member or listener or community member of the month, and we would do like a new community member of the month, and like once that month, whoever got selected, we would have them on the show, and they kind of sat down with us and stuff. The thing is, we did that for like what 2 years, 2-3 years, and we kind of got through everybody who was such a diehard listener of the show, and it's everybody who still listens. So, but yeah, but that's that. Again, nothing's expected. We just appreciate you guys actually listening and taking part in the community because that's actually what makes us keep coming back. So, all right, round table. So I put on here E3 recap part 2 because I know our last show we were just focused on Microsoft. This show here, we are gamers. We like all sorts of games, but so we can kind of chit chat about the other shows that we saw, or that we watched, if you would like. I did watch Bethesda. I rewatched Ubisoft's after it was on. I did watch Sony's live, and I did not catch Nintendo's, but I saw some of the stuff they were having. I know my daughter and my son are pretty excited about a couple things there. They are big Mario fans. But what do you want to talk about first? Do you want to do what did you catch Bethesda?
I did.
Okay.
Didn't expect much out of it, and
Same here.
because I don't know, I'm just they really don't have games that interest me. They just never really have. So I'm not
Mm.
a Fallout fan, not a fan of Doom, or oh wait, yeah,
Yeah.
or Wolfenstein really. I'm sure Rob will be stoked for the new Wolfenstein game,
It
but
looked really good. So,
eh. So
but yeah, I think Wolfenstein actually won a IGN award. Best shooter, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. So, it won over Destiny 2, Far Cry 5, Lawbreakers, Metro, Splatoon. It won over Splatoon 2? You mean the shooter of the year? Splatoon? Um, Star Wars Battlefront 2, which looks really fun. And yeah, Wolfenstein. So, Wolfenstein did win that. But I mean, for me, like Bethesda was just a Bethesda show. They showed some of their stuff, and they're dedicated, and it was what it was. So.
yeah, I have nothing against Bethesda. So I don't want to get the hate mail. It's just the stuff they do really just doesn't. I think didn't they make Quake too as well? But I really didn't think Quake looked very good. But Quake's a fun game. I did enjoy that back in the day. But yeah, Bethesda really just. I'm not into Elder Scrolls. I'm not into Fallout. I'm not. I don't. For some reason, I just didn't enjoy the last Wolfenstein game. Just it's to me, it's too old school. You know, there were just some things I just didn't care for it. But um, I think yeah, they did a good show, and I think people were really pleased with what they saw.
Hawk said, and he was right in the middle of his hate letter to you.
Come on, Hawk, you love me and you know it.
All right. Well, after that, so Monday, then you had Bethesda, Ubisoft. So disappointed I didn't see any. I didn't get to see any Splinter Cell when all that Splinter Cell talk was
Yeah,
going on. I was like, oh, I can't wait. I was hoping and hoping and hoping, but
and there
you
was
know,
like no, like I didn't think that there was like this whole wait, there's one more thing. I
right?
mean, they closed with Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I
Yeah.
guess is huge. I mean,
Yep.
that maybe they didn't need the one more thing, that was
That was
it.
their
But
one more thing. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I never played the original, so I had no clue what this even was. So I'm just like, okay,
Mhm.
um, Far Cry 5 really is, I think, the only thing from Ubisoft. Let me think. Is that correct? I think that was the only thing that really like struck me. That game I'm looking forward to. Oh wait, they also did. Was it Skull and Bones?
Skull and Bones. Yep.
That that it's to me it was interesting. My thought on that was like, this is what this will probably be the Sea of Thieves killer. you know?
And I heard somebody talk about it because actually it does look good, and I probably will want to play it. Did say I'd want to buy it. I definitely would want to play it. But somebody said, if you want a pirate game, that'd be Skull and Bones. But if you want a fun with friends,
Right.
just kind of goof off around pirate game, that is your Sea of Thieves. Like people were saying, it's like, believe it or not, yes, they're both pirate games, but they are on two separate sides of gaming. Like they are two different things. So, but yeah.
And I got late breaking news. I
Oh,
have an
okay.
announcement to make.
Okay, go for it.
We are going to have a special guest on next week.
We
And
are.
I'm talking super duper special guest. A blast from the past. Someone who started this whole journey with you and I, Brun.
Oh, okay.
Moronic Cow is going to join us next week.
Oh no. No, just kidding.
It's
Good.
going to be awesome, man. I haven't talked to him in so long. I mean, it was the three of us that started this whole podcasting thing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be cool to have him on and kind of hear from him. If you don't know who he is, him and I started Xbox Podcast. Brun, you joined that show what, 5 or 6 episodes in because we
I
were
think
looking for a third.
episode 5, yeah.
Okay. And we ended up doing, I think, about roughly 80 something shows. And then we left. And then Brun started this Xbox Life. And then Kyle and I quit the other place and came over and we started this. And then I think Kyle petered out pretty quick because he was doing Achievement Hounds. So that's another podcast that
Yeah, he
him and
started.
Ravioli
Yeah,
and Lead E Dog spun up. And he put so much time into that, he just stayed over there. And then we got Rob on.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but
Because
yeah, it'll be fun to hear from Kyle.
it was like a 4-person show there for a while, but then yeah, he picked up because it's funny that our show has spawned like other shows. Now that was a direct show spawned from a host of this Xbox Life, and it just got to the point where he couldn't do both. I mean, it was just Achievement Hounds consumed him because
Oh,
their
they
whole
were
thing
doing like
was
three or 4 hour shows.
they were doing like 3 hour shows and all the stuff he had to do for that. And then not only were they doing 3 or 4 hour shows, like he had to constantly play games and get achievements because it was Achievement Hounds and stuff.
Yeah, I
Now,
think he's over 500,000 now, I believe.
mm,
I
and I
think him,
haven't,
Rav, and Eric all are over 500,000.
yeah,
I'll have to
and
look
I
them up.
haven't listened to Achievement Hounds in a long time.
They, my understanding, I don't believe they do it anymore.
Right,
It's the community driven.
right,
For a while, there was like some community guys stepping in and kind of doing it every other week.
hmm,
But I think Eric and Rav and or Franco, Eric and Kyle have kind of. I haven't seen anything from them in a long time, but
right,
I think I finally took it off my feed because I just like to hear those guys, and I don't know
right,
if they're back. But we'll find out next week.
yeah,
We'll see what
because
he's gotten planned.
yeah, because I remember I was actually a couple weeks ago. Um, I was checking up to see what was going on, and I didn't see anything released in a long time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that'll be fun. Cool. Breaking news. There you
So
have it, folks.
Elite Dog, which he used to be Elite E Dog, now he's AHP Elite Dog. He's 505,000.
Okay.
So that's Achievement Hounds podcast. Yeah. So he's at 505,000 gamer score. Let me look up what's Moronic Cow and Ravioli. So here's Ravioli Capone, who I need to touch base with him. He lives really close to me, and he's like the only out of both podcasts, he's the only guy I haven't met. Oh my goodness, 562,000
Okay.
his gamer score. Ooh, that's insane. And then let me find Moronic Cow.
Yeah, I know. One of their big things when they first started is they got what Stoff J. Is that correct? That name?
Uh huh.
They got him on the show a couple times, and like they know him as far as I understand. Um, and he has what like
Bunch.
uh
Kyle's at 518. I can look Stoff J up.
yeah,
But Kyle's at 518. So we're gonna we're gonna have some serious points guy on here next
yeah,
week. He's gonna put old our buddy Rob to shame.
yeah. But I can't remember what because this ain't- wasn't who was the person that was first to a million?
Oh, I can't. Stallion.
Stallion 83. They also had Stallion 83, I believe, on there. We'll verify with him, but just I know that you know they're familiar with everybody with the achievement things. So,
Yeah.
but all right, cool. So back to her thing. So Ubisoft just had their thing. The one thing I was glad to see about their conference is and also I'm excited for South Park because I love the first game. So that's coming out. I'm excited. But the one thing I was super happy about is they didn't have what's her name on there. And they didn't do this over the top like we have to cuss every other letter because we're extreme, like they did it 2 years in a row. And the person they had hosting, I actually saw her on a couple other shows.
Aisha Tyler's her name.
Yeah, and she was actually a really nice person, and I just don't know why if like how they're acting or whatever, but it was just ridiculous. I couldn't stand to watch it. It was cringe. Like
Oh,
I
and I like
cringed the
her as
whole
an
time.
actress.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's a very attractive woman. She's a good actress, but man, yeah, it's like she comes out just like acting this tough. I'm just gonna curse and we're gonna f this, f that, just because we can.
right,
And I'm like, it's like it doesn't need to be that way, guys.
right,
We're not here for the. We're here to see the games. I don't need to hear you. Okay, you're an adult and you can say the f word. Woo, we're impressed. I
yeah.
was so glad she wasn't on the show this year, and they still use the language in the show, but not near to the extent. And when one guy is like said it, oh, they're effed, and he's like, "Yep, I had to say it." I'm like, "Okay, dude, you're cool. You can
Yeah.
swear. We're so proud of you." Um, it's just ridiculous. It doesn't need to be there. This isn't that
What
setting, you
what was
know.
the game? What was the game that they was showing where I think I heard like 5 or 6 f bombs in like the first 30 seconds?
I don't remember.
There was a game. If anybody in chat remembers what that game was, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm like, oh, and I can handle it. But here I am watching this. I have to make sure my kids aren't walking by my computer, and I gotta make, oh, let me put my
Exactly.
headphones on because somebody's got to drop the f bomb 15 times, and
Right. Right.
I can't remember what the game was, but yeah, that's kind of just like, holy cow.
Could have been Far Cry, or could have been that Skull and Bones, or
Maybe it was
um,
Far Cry. It was Far Cry.
yeah.
It was Far Cry. Because it was the one thing was is like they were setting up and they were overlooking this area, and the person, like the sniper, he's like, you go up there and overlook. So the sniper lady went up to the top, and like she was like yelling the f word and he was yelling the f word. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
Oh yeah, and Stricken thought he said he was wondering if it was the game A Way Out.
I know it
Curious what your
has.
thoughts were on that.
I mean, there was
Do you remember
cursing in,
that one?
yeah, there was cursing in that one, but it just wasn't. I don't think they were cursing to curse.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a difference
Right. There's a
between,
difference. Yeah.
like, even Gears of War had language in it and stuff, and language does not bother me
Right.
except for when it's every other word, because
Like
nobody,
gratuitous, or
everybody that I
over.
know doesn't talk that way.
Yeah.
It's like, even
It
I,
doesn't need
I
to
may,
be every.
yeah, I'll say a word once in a while, but I won't be like every other word. um I'm not like, Jesus walks a lot level. I'm just kidding, Jesus. I'm just kidding. So,
Anyways, about that game A Way Out,
yeah.
that was Ubisoft, right?
A Way Out? I thought it was
Or
EA.
was that yeah, that's what I was trying to think. I was thinking that was EA. So let's jump back to that, because I
Okay.
actually want to, and we can come back to Ubisoft in a minute. That game was interesting on it was odd. Okay, so
Okay.
it's made by the people that did Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons,
Yes. Yep.
and this game is very different from that. It looks really good. It really
Yep.
does look good,
Mm-hmm.
but it it is a split screen required co-op
Yep.
game.
Yep.
You cannot play it by yourself.
Nope.
So, and they kind of want, I guess they're going for the whole couch co-op thing, but I don't know a lot of people that do a lot of couch co-op anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We play a lot of co-op online, but even though you're playing online with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
your screen is still going to be split,
Yes.
because the game is designed for you to see what the other character's doing. And it's
Yep.
like, I don't like that. I don't want I can't imagine that, because then I'm like, if I'm focused on what I'm doing, because sometimes I can't even, there's too much going on. I can't even get everything that I'm doing, let alone, oh, what's my partner doing? And I don't really care to see it from their point of view. So there's no way I'm getting this game, because number one, I feel like the only way it would be work for me is if I was playing with the same person from start to finish, which is near impossible to do with everybody's busy work schedules.
Mm-hmm. It's to me it's one of those games where okay, so the split screen as far as I understand is not all of the time. It's like during key moments and stuff like it'll split and sometimes it's split in horizontal, sometimes it's vertical, sometimes it's half the screen, sometimes it's they're going to change it. Like I think I'll explain something here in a second. But the thing is, you're right. I think it's somebody that you're going to want to play through the game with, and then or you could probably be playing a couple ways with two different people, like as different characters and such. But the thing is like you're buying this game, and you're going to play it. Like it doesn't have to be beaten in the first week. Like you can take time to play it and to beat it, even if it was once a week or whatever. That's kind of my thing on that. But the one thing that I like about this game, and I will probably be getting it because I really want to play it, is it's something different. It's something different, even if it comes out and it's horrible, and I don't like it. It's something different. It's not the same thing as everything else. That's kind of why I think it struck me when I first saw it. It's like, okay, I want to play that. And it really honestly I wanted to play it because of the concept that they're doing for the game. And that's all. So I mean it may turn out to be really good. I mean, who knows? It might be a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 or something like that. And if you do play it and spend the time to work with somebody and play the game, you never know. You may turn around and glad you tried out. So
I figured out I figured out why my screen was going into that application switcher.
okay.
It's my mouse. I recently got a new mouse,
Oh.
and it's like I tend to press like when I'm clicking my mouse buttons.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm pressing in for some reason with my thumb on the
Oh.
side of the mouse, and that's a button. I didn't realize that whole side is a button, and I just realized it. I did it again on me. I was like, what is going on? And I'm like, what am I clicking here? So I started messing with my mouse and was able to duplicate it. I was like, oh, if I click on this thing, it's not even a button. It's like the whole side of the mouse.
All right.
So it's like, here, let me try to put it. So I've got this Logitech. So that whole
Right.
side right there
Yep.
where you lay your thumb, that's a button. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh
And I'm
yes.
trying
Yeah,
to
I know what you're talking
turn
about.
it off and you can't turn it off. It says select task. I'm like, so there's like other stuff, but I don't want it to do anything. I just want it to do nothing. I'll have to see if there's something that says unassigned.
Yep.
Maybe that is what I want.
All right.
I'm gonna apply that. Let me see if this works.
Well, why?
Is this driving me? It was driving me nuts.
Well, while you're fixing that, um, yeah.
Yes, that fixed it. Woo!
So that's
So note to those out there with a Logitech mouse: if all of a sudden you keep going into your screen keeps going to that app switcher, go into your Logitech software and unassign that button number 8.
well that's a way out. So, after Ubisoft was Sony, um, and of course I really wanted to watch Sony because they are a competitor to Xbox, and I wanted to see. Also, I wanted to see Detroit, which we'll come up to, because that's the game that I've been looking forward to. So their show started off with no sound. Fantastic. Way to hit it off. They went for the same approach that they did last year, which was to have elaborate, theatric type conference. I would say it was pretty cool. That sand thing that was coming down was pretty neat. And that was for the Uncharted expansion, which I know a lot of people, big Uncharted, if there are Uncharted fans out there, they're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'll have to get that.
Yeah, but so I think it went through the first couple games that they were showing off before the sound actually kicked into the stream. Like everybody in the stream was complaining, it was like we can't hear anything, and stuff like that. I will say that even before Sony's conference, I said that at some point in time they would have to come back and revisit things they have announced in the past, definitely in the past 2 years,
Yep.
because they can't just keep announcing future future, like things you've never seen, things you've never heard, or else they'd be showing games in 2028. You know,
Yeah.
um, so I don't blame them for their conference. For people that I think that were disappointed and they wanted more. It's just like, sorry guys, they got to come back to the stuff that they haven't released yet. Um, so you saw your God of War. A big surprise was there's expansion coming for Horizon Zero Dawn. I know a couple people at work are really pumped about that. They beat their first one, beat the game originally, so now there's more coming for it. Um, yeah,
Sorry, I played Far Cry Primal, so
yeah,
Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know. It looks beautiful,
yeah,
but I think I would have enjoyed the game had I not spent 100 hours in Far Cry Primal.
yeah. I could
That
see
that's
that.
the thing, and like with Zero Dawn, it's like what annoys me is I get to shoot arrows, and then it's like, oh, I have to stop in the middle of combat and construct more arrows, and I'm constantly like constructing arrows, and it's just like this just seems like because it takes you out. It's like you pause. You're
Hmm.
pausing the battle. Okay, let me construct new arrows. It just I'm like this just doesn't work for me, And unfortunately, Far Cry Primal just ruined me. I liked Far Cry Primal, but I just feel this is too much like that game. And yes, I know there's robot dogs or whatever, animals that you're fighting, and then the none of those were in Primal, but it looks the same. It's basically that with Tomb Raider, and it's like I've played those, so I don't think I'm gonna go back to Horizon. I kind of quit it. It's
Right.
just too similar in my book, but not, and I'm not knocking it. It was fun and it's neat, but it's just too similar to the other game for me to really invest a lot of time in it. But what was that other game? There was something else they announced at the end that was like a huge thing for Sony fans. I can't remember what it was. There was some new announcements, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't think it wasn't like last year. And you're right. The last couple of years, they've been announcing stuff that was so far in advance. Like they weren't even showing stuff, and we tallied the numbers last year. And I said
Yeah,
I was going to do it this year, but I couldn't because there was a lot of stuff in both shows that had no dates.
yeah,
It was like they took the release dates out. Some stuff would say, you know, uh, if it was this year, they'd give you a date, and there was only a couple items, but then it would be like early 2018. But there was a lot of stuff that they didn't say anything. And
yeah.
I'm like, okay. But I think in the Microsoft show, and my understanding was everything that they showed was expected or currently has whether they gave a release date or not, is expected to be out by holiday 2018.
Right.
And that's what Microsoft has done the last couple of years. They've
Hmm.
gone to this, we're going to show you what's going to be out in the next 18 months. And Sony's kind of stuck to, we're going to show you the next 3, 4, 5 years what you can be playing.
Hmm.
But then when you get to that point, like they did this year, they kind of had to repeat and show a lot of the things you've already seen the last 2 years
Right.
and didn't have a whole lot new because the stuff they've been showing you still hasn't come out.
Right.
So they kind of put them into a corner that way.
It did, and that's what I was saying is they kind of needed a time. They needed to get themselves out of that corner, and this year, even going into it, we were kind of like, okay, yeah, we know Scorpio's coming. We're gonna see stuff like that, but what are we gonna see? What else are we gonna see from Microsoft and stuff like that? It was kind of like a weird show. We've said that a number of times the last couple weeks, and so this is a perfect time for them to get out of that corner they're in, and the one thing that I've seen in that show, because they showed God of War, they showed Spider Man at the end, and a lot of people are just like, okay, either God of War is going to be this fall, or Spider Man's going to be this fall, and whatever one's not this fall, the other one's going to be spring next year, and then it comes out to be none of those are coming this year, like they're 2018, and that's all they said is 2018, which means they have a more chance to slip. So they're not even set in stone. I'm assuming both are going to make 2018. I'm not going to say that they're not because I really do think they probably will. Um, but Sony had those were the two big games people were looking forward to, and also besides Uncharted. Now Uncharted I think is coming this year. Um,
Yeah, I think
but
so.
yeah, And
But they didn't
so
have any left. Was it left? No, Last of Us 2. That was not
no.
shown, which I guess a lot of people were upset about.
Which I don't see. And my thing is, I have no idea why they would think they would see that. That game's like 3 years out from now. Like they haven't even started on that game because they got to finish the Uncharted one first. So
You don't think they got multiple teams?
they
You
may
think
have
there's
some
just one?
people working on some stuff, but no, like yeah, no. And then you saw Days Gone, which Days Gone never had a date on it again. Like there was no date, or and they didn't even mention 2018 on that again.
Yeah,
Um,
and Death Stranding wasn't shown either, right?
right.
That
Well,
didn't
that's
make an
that.
appearance
Yeah,
either.
that's 2021 before that one comes
Well,
out.
that'll be the earliest because that's what Kojima.
Yeah, Kojima.
He's never quick on games, so
Yeah. So you know, and then but they went in, they did some of their VR stuff because they have to start showing things from VR because remember, there's just nothing out there besides what originally came out. They did a couple of their remake, remaster things with Shadow of the Colossus. Um, so you're going to have that, which I believe is a remake of a remake, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but there was that, you know, people were excited about that. No Crash Bandicoot because didn't they show that last year? And I remember Tim Geddes going like crazy for it because like there are other
yeah.
you're show Crash Band, you know, no Crash Bandicoot show, no Final Fantasy VII remake, no. I mean, it was just you know the things that they didn't show, um, but the things that they did show again, they had to come back to them. But I was trying to think of some of the new stuff that they see. Their conference this year was kind of very forgettable. And actually, when I was watching it, you know, it was nice that they came out. They only said a couple things, and then they just went into the games and stuff. And um, but they that's just the way it was. They struck out this year. For the stuff that was getting them the win, like win this, like they won E3, they won E3. The things that they were winning E3 were just overhyping people and never giving any promises of when they were going to deliver. And like we said, and I don't blame them, they had to come back to those and they had to start giving some sort of delivery. But at that point, you're not getting anybody hyped up because you're just showing them stuff they already knew about. Um, so they didn't do well this year. Um, Based on all the pool, you know, the IGN people, they do polls on Twitter and stuff like that. They came in third, I think. Like Microsoft trounced everybody this year. Um, when it comes to winning E3, but I don't think there's really a winner of an E3,
I
anyways.
don't either. I think the
Um,
gamers are the winners.
yeah, yeah. If
You
you're,
know,
yeah,
because
it's.
again, we are an Xbox focused show,
Mm-hmm,
but we're all gamers. Ron plays on PC and Xbox. You know, Rob, I know, has several of the consoles. I told you I played a PS4, a PS3 game, and some Xbox One games. So, we all probably play mobile games. I hate the whole stupid war thing.
yeah.
And there was so much of that crap on our Facebook group this week. I'm just like, guys, get over it. It's like E3 brings out the worst in people,
Mm-hmm,
you know. And I wish, and I made a comment today on one of them because someone was like, "Oh, this is BS about Phil saying that they're only gonna talk about stuff, in the next year and a half." Well, that's what they've been doing for 2 years, and I wish Sony would do the same because I feel like PlayStation people are kind of it's always like the carrots dangled in front of them, you know,
right.
and it's like they don't really have anything. I've heard from other people who are Sony, gamers first. I don't want to use fanboys. Is a Sony gamer first. That's their preferred platform, and they've said there's nothing to play on this platform, and that's not fair to them. You know, you sold a bajillion consoles, give them something to play.
Well,
Show people what you can play in the next year and a half. No one cares 5 years out. I mean, and yes, stuff slips. I mean, we've been looking at Crackdown 3 since 2014,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so in Cuphead, I mean, so
yeah.
they did announce stuff back in 2014 that still hasn't shipped. Stuff gets delayed. but their intent there was they was planning to release it and stuff happens. I get that. I don't have a problem with something slipping, but showing me a game like Sony did last year that they had one that was 2019, and this was back in 2016's E3, and then there was a
Right.
bunch of stuff not even dated. So it's like, was that 2020? We're 4 and 5 years out. You should not be advertising a game at that point.
Right.
It just it's there's no point to it. It's like you're trying to, well, we got all these exclusives, and Phil said we've got them, they're coming, but they weren't going to be ready in the next 18 months.
Right.
So next E3 we should see quite a bit of exclusives uh from Microsoft, real exclusives.
Yeah.
Not
And
the 22 that they showed that was really 7, but
right.
Microsoft still had 7 exclusive titles.
Yeah.
This, how many
Yes.
how many does it take to make it everybody happy and go, "Oh, okay." I mean, they had 7.
Yeah.
It I don't know what I don't know how many, and I'm talking about, and I we can get into the whole, well, Sony's got 200 or something. Well, I still don't agree with the way that I think it was GameSpot tallies up that list, because then they'll go to, you have the PC, and it's like, oh, we got 800 Japanese games that are only released in Japan and not available
Oh,
here.
yeah.
But Microsoft has Halo and Gears, and that's it. They don't count like all the arcade games and all these other things that
Right.
are exclusive. It's
Right.
just not. Um,
I
so
think I
whatever,
think I
but
think both I think both Sony and Microsoft probably have, in my mind, for things that I care about. I guess what each company maybe has half a dozen exclusives that like I can rattle off on the top of my head.
and I wish they'd just get rid of that.
Or yeah,
Honestly,
true. Hey, I'm cool with it. But yeah, but I mean, really, off the top of my head, I can really think of like some few exclusive franchises. So like for Sony, you have um GT Gran Turismo. You have your Uncharted. You have Last of Us. You have um Infamous. You're playing Infamous. So there's
yeah.
5. And like I said, I know there's more, but I'm saying like the ones like I can name
Like
off
the
the top.
Order 18, whatever,
Well, I'm saying
80,
off the top
God
of
of
my head.
War,
You have
Horizon.
oh, all
They've
right.
got
Well,
their racing game, but we
well
have our
that's
Forza.
right.
For a lot of the stuff, there is an answer to it on the other side, and some stuff there's not. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would love Uncharted. I wish I could play Uncharted on Xbox.
Yeah.
You know, be,
But
but I got a PlayStation and I'll play it there.
yeah. So,
It's just I don't use it that often, but I still will. And I'm glad that, hey, Infamous actually was a fun game. Now I've got another series I can play on
yeah.
the PlayStation.
I just
Who cares what you're playing on as long as we're playing games, right?
yeah. And that's the thing is like you want to play games, but and I kind of get a chuckle at work because came up that thing. Just sprinkle just sprinkle a little 60 million on it. Sprinkle a little 60 million on it. And that's what I say is when people say like, oh, I don't have anything to play. Well, oh, what do you play on? Oh, I play on PlayStation. Well, you got this game. I already played those. Oh, don't worry, man. Just sprinkle a little 60 million on it. Everything will be okay. And they kind of look at me like I'm dumb. And I'm just like, listen, you have a company that sits there and talks about that they've sold 65, 60, 80 million consoles. And that's all they talk about because that's all they care about. They don't care that you don't have a game to play. They honestly don't. Like the game will come out when the game comes out. But all you have right now to talk about is, oh, now we're at 66 million. Oh, we're at 67 million. Oh, we're at 68 million. I mean, enjoy
Yeah,
doing that. I
I
don't
bought
care.
one too, and it sat. I bought it. I plugged it in. I downloaded I think Horizon, and then I think I didn't even play it for. Well, no, when I first got it, I didn't do anything with this thing for a few weeks
Yeah.
because I was waiting to finish up some other games. And then I went and played Horizon for a few times, and I was like, okay, this is primal. Went back to my Xbox. I finally went back and you know bought some other games I haven't played, but I don't use the thing. My PS3, Infamous is the first game outside of Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 that I've played on it.
All right.
It's been sitting in a box for like 3 years. Um, and I won't go into the story of why it's out and being used now, but Brian, I'll explain that to you off.
Okay.
off camera.
Yeah.
Can't be recorded when I say it. Um, but don't want to incriminate myself.
Yeah.
But
But yeah.
yeah, it's if it wasn't for the situation of where the PlayStation is and why it's being used, PS3, it would still be in a box today, and I wouldn't know that Infamous was a great game. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I've bought two consoles, and I don't really they've got really no money from me game wise. Like Microsoft, my gosh, they're rolling in the dough from me.
Yeah.
I'm constantly buying games on it. So,
Yeah. But that's just because it's
but
probably your primary platform. I think if you go out and
it's yeah, and it's the way everybody is. Someone who's a PlayStation gamer first is going to buy most of their stuff there, and that's
yeah.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
fine. Is
Yep.
what I hate is these people that are so one sided. They can't see that it's all gaming. It's just like Sony rules or Microsoft rules or Nintendo
Yeah.
rules. It's no games rule.
Yeah.
That's
The
what I wish people would start doing. Games rule. I'm going to play games wherever I can. Who cares what platform you're on? Enjoy it.
yeah.
You know.
The comments, no, you're right. The comments when the conferences were going on was just like, Xbox One, PlayStation One, Nintendo One, and I'm just like, I don't understand what you're talking about. But and the one thing I will say is, and for people that listen to our show, I tell this to my kids, and my daughter and my son, and I tell them if they don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And to be kind, and to be thoughtful and stuff like that. And in my opinion, if I heard my kids say some of the stuff I saw people put in chat, or if I found out my kid was putting something like that in chat, they wouldn't want to know what would be coming down upon them from me. I saw some of the worst, nastiest people, and they do it because they're anonymous, and it's just horrible. It's just flat out horrible. It's like I was watching IGN, and the stuff that they were saying about one of the hosts that were on there, I'll have to tell you what it is offline, Mark, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I would love to grab a hold of that person that was writing that, and I'll explain to you later. But man, in our community, if you guys don't have anything nice to say, like to other people, just don't say anything. It's
Yeah.
just you're right. It does bring out the worst in a lot of people because oh my gosh,
You
that's
know,
ridiculous.
I was even
No
getting
wonder.
heated.
What's that?
I was even getting heated, and I got kind of wrapped up in that, and I was kind of firing back. So, and then I was like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Come on, Mark, grow up.
yeah,
You're way above this. This is." And so I kind of changed my tone,
hmm
and I was still responding, but I was like, "Hey guys, look, we're all gamers, and we game on everything. It doesn't matter. We don't need to diss. And like when we do it here, a lot of times we kind of do it in joking. We are an Xbox show, so we kind of, but it's meant in jest. I mean, I'm not. I've put Microsoft down a heck of a lot more than I've ever put Sony down. I'm still PO'd at my Xbox One S. I think there's something physically wrong with it. I've got all kinds of problems with this thing lately.
hmm
And it's so bad that I'm like, do I really want to buy an X? Um, because I don't know. I want to give him more money,
hmm
but I'm going to. I like the platform, and all that stuff. But you know, it doesn't. You don't have to drink the Kool Aid just because you pick one platform and go with it. Doesn't mean you have to say, "Oh, everything's great." It's not always great. Sometimes the box acts like crap. Sometimes it doesn't boot up right. Sometimes stuff doesn't work. The other day my wireless headset died. I couldn't, so I plugged in a wired one and it wouldn't work. I had to go and disconnect the wireless box from the back of the thing and reboot the whole thing to even get that to reconnect. And it's just like this is stupid. The box should be smart enough to know, hey, this headset's dead.
right,
It's not communicating. He's plugged one in. Let me use that one. And it's not. It's just it used to be in one of their updates, and then they kill it, and then they fix it, and then they kill it again. And it's like, come on, people. So it gets frustrating, but
right,
it doesn't just enjoy what we have. Let's get along. Let's stop the hate. It's almost like the race wars. I mean, people get so angry over race and religion and other things. It's like this is like the same thing, and this is stupid.
Yeah.
This isn't worth it, guys. I mean, the other stuff's not worth the hate either, but we just got to get along. And so it was nice to actually kind of say, "Hey guys, look, let's let's tone down this garbage." You know.
Right.
And I will say, if you are going to come into our Facebook group and complain about Microsoft or the Xbox and come across as a Sony fanboy, we're just going to punch you. You know, you don't. It's like I wouldn't go into a Sony or a PlayStation group and start spouting off how they suck because I'm going to get kicked out.
Right.
Know your audience.
Yeah. And there's a difference
you
between
know,
constructive feedback, because even on our show, we like, we just gave
right?
constructive feedback. Like, in that one time, I forget who it was, we got a message or something. It's just like, are you guys even an Xbox? Why are you guys call yourself an Xbox podcast when all you sit there is you bash them the whole time? It's like, no, we don't bash them. We just call them out. We're holding them accountable. And I saw that from the Sony, and that's one of my things I was going to say, because somebody mentioned Destiny. Um, Asking if I'm going to buy Destiny 2, my answer is no. They're doing exclusive content like they did before. I will say the only way that I will get Destiny 2 is if I buy a 1080, and then I get it for free. But that'll be on PC.
Right.
But the number of Sony players and fans and Destiny players that were coming to the aid of everybody else who didn't play on Sony's platform was fantastic. Just, I mean, there was a number, like, I didn't know how many I counted, but just the people was just like, you know what, Bungie, what are you doing? Like, why do the exclusive content stuff? Why do this? Why are you doing this? It's just like, and they're like, and I play on PlayStation. I don't like this. This is not good. And, it's just a money grab and blah, blah, blah. And then you had some people come back and say, well, it's not Bungie's choice. It's Activision. Oh, Bungie can get out of that if they wanted to, in my
Bungie has the
opinion.
choice.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
that's why. Yeah, and it's just like my complaint at Respawn
Right.
with the whole EA Access thing and not giving the discount. You didn't give me a 10% discount because I'm an EA Access member, which I was promised. But the game, so would have made the game $54 for me to purchase instead of 60. So you wouldn't give me that, but like a week later, it was on sale for $50 or 49.99. But it, I'm like, come on, this is just So these people can stand up and
Yeah.
fight back, and in Bungie, plain and simple, I hold Bungie accountable for this.
Yeah.
And it could be Activision driving it or Sony driving it or whatever, but Bungie, it's their game. They're an
Mhm.
independent developer. They have the right to say, no, we're not gonna hose over and screw over the Xbox fans who made us who we are. But instead they said, yeah, we don't care about, because they got some beef with Microsoft. Guess what? Braun and I had nothing to do with that. We supported you and you screwed us.
Yeah.
We're going 2 years into that game and still don't have promised content that was paid for. And now you want to go, oh, here's our new game. No, and you're
Yeah.
going to do the same thing. You're giving content to another platform again and not Xbox. You just no, we're not. I'm not falling for it. I'm speaking with my wallet. You're not getting any of my money, and I'm done with Bungie.
Yeah. And the
But
thing, but like I said, is like, hey, I was applauding those guys, because it's just like, thank you, because I have nothing against you know whatever console it's like, and I've said this before, like, I am okay with console exclusives games. Like, if some company wants to go and say, hey, you can only play this game on our console, and you want to drop $3 billion to do that, go for it. Drop $3 billion. If I really want
yeah,
to play that game, I will go buy your console, because you're saying this game is so awesome that I want to spend money for it, and I want to sell my console with it because I believe that it's the best. This game's awesome or whatever. I don't like it when Microsoft does it. I really didn't care for the whole year exclusivity on
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider, because
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't like it, because for my thing was, it's just like, really, why Tomb Raider? It's a game, it's fun. I beat the other one. I still haven't beat the one that was exclusive, but it was just like, is Tomb Raider really worth that much to hold on to for a year? It's like, I didn't get it. Um, But yeah, I was happy to see those guys, and Bungie is basically getting an earful from a lot of people, and I believe they completely deserve it. But so,
Well,
yep.
real quick, my last thing I want to see on E3 was,
Hmm.
and we're talking about Destiny. I don't care about Destiny because, um, I can never remember the name of the game.
Anthem.
Um, Anthem. Thank you.
Hmm.
I don't know why that name I cannot remember. I'm sorry, but I looked at Anthem. I'm like, yep, this is a Destiny killer right here. That game looks phenomenal,
Hmm.
so good. And I thought it was cool that because that's well, it wasn't an Ubisoft, it's an EA game. EA came out in their press conference and they kind of teased it, and then they said you'll see the full reveal on the Microsoft conference. So
Hmm.
I thought that was cool that Microsoft was getting some kind of love with that. But Anthem looks phenomenal,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know what, this could be what we kind of all wanted Destiny to be, and so I'm looking for more to that. Um, but one thing I wanted to say earlier about the exclusives was, when they're trying to figure them out, are they going to count Xbox One X 4K games as exclusives? Because there's over 60 games that have been listed. IGN actually has a list of over 60 titles that are going to be Xbox One X 4K games. So some of the older titles are going to get updates. Like Gears of War 4 is getting an update. Um, that's one I know, but uh,
Wildlands.
Wildlands, yes, is going to get a 4K update. These are going to be free, but so like Crackdown 3 is an exclusive.
Right.
So there's Crackdown 3 on Xbox One, and then there's also going to be Crackdown 3 on Xbox One X, which is a 4K, game. Does that count as two exclusives?
Mm.
I mean, if you're going to count all these one-off Japanese games that people can't get in the United States, you know, um, then are you going to count the 4K games? So that was kind of my thing there too. Halo War 2. So there's a lot of games that are already out that are going to get free updates, but then you've got things that are coming out. Ooh, Titanfall. Oh, Titanfall 2.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Ooh,
I'm curious. I'm wondering if Battlefield 1 will be getting one as well, because um I don't know if it can or not, but it'll be interesting. What was the deal? So Ubisoft needs to figure out what they're going to do about Assassin's Creed, because it's not true 4K that they were showing on their conference, even though it was on the Xbox One S. They were or X. They were doing that checkerboard thing. Comes to find out, they kind of got busted on doing it.
hmm.
Curious what they're going to do, if they're going to come out with a true 4K pack. Maybe like there's still time to do stuff with it. Kind of like the Crackdown 3. People that saw it were just like, it's not that impressive. Well, it's not out yet, so
It's got
you know,
5 more. It's got 5 more months to
yeah,
work
yeah,
on polish. So
yeah,
the thing I heard about Crackdown, people were saying, yeah, the game itself didn't look that great,
right,
but that's all stuff that's polished in the final months.
right, yep,
So that I'm not worried about that. And from what I saw, it looked great.
yeah,
I can't wait to play. So,
yeah,
but yeah, anyway, so
yeah,
I just thought that was interesting. If you're considering Xbox One X, which also, by the way,
hmm,
we could just call this the Xbox, because if you think about it, the X box one X. Okay, so write it out that way, and then
it's
look down. The
Xbox.
first letter spells out Xbox.
Yeah, that's funny to think
XBO
about
X.
that.
So
Yeah,
we could just call it the Xbox, and that
yeah,
means the X. So,
because
or just
Xbox
stick to
One
calling it
is
Scorpio.
XBO. Like, people reference Xbox One as the XBO.
XBO.
So yeah, this is the XBO
XBOS would be
XBO
X
X.
boss, and this is the Xbox.
Oh, very good.
um, so anyway, so just that was just I want to let everybody know, if you're considering an X, um, there's going to be a lot of games that you may already have that are going to get 4K upgrades. So that's kind of cool. Real quick, not to dive into this too deep. I know we're running longer than we thought we were going to.
Yeah.
Sony. So in the Microsoft press conference, they showed Minecraft,
Yeah.
and they also talked about how we're unifying the Minecraft world, and they showed a Switch and a PC, and so Nintendo and the PC world and the Xbox world, you're going to be able to play Minecraft on any of their platform, or at least like the Switch and the PC and Xbox 360, Xbox One,
Hmm.
mobile platforms. Those, and you're going to be able to cross play with other people. They try to get Sony, and Sony is refusing to do it. And they're claiming it's because they're protecting the security of their customers. And I'm like, this is a crock of crap. So they came out basically saying that Nintendo and the PC world, the mobile world, Xbox Live, none of it is safe and it's not secured. And that's all Sony cares about is security. And I'm like, who continues to keep getting breached? Sony.
Yeah, so that was
Um,
funny because that was my thing. It's like, oh, we care and care so much about it that we're just going to let you get hacked instead.
yeah, it's like they are so into themselves that they are the king and everything that they don't even want to play well with others. I mean that's just, and again, this comes back to my frustration. I am a Sony customer, and they're not. They're basically denying me the ability to crossplay. Yet Nintendo's going to get involved. Xbox is getting involved. iOS, Android, and Windows are all going to allow crossplay. Sony says no, and they make up this lame excuse.
Right. Well,
It's just like, I don't
here's
get it.
another funny thing in this article. This is the one on The Verge. Um, but here's a little thing. It's unlikely that Microsoft would be encouraging this type of cross network play if it was still in a position of power and selling the most consoles in the US each month. Now that Microsoft is struggling to compete with Sony's impressive PlayStation 4 sales, it needs to encourage things like cross network play. Sony is in a much stronger position, and blocking cross platform play is simply encourage gamers to buy a PS4 if they want to play with their friends. If you're the only one in your group of friends with an Xbox One, then you're probably going to be waiting until Sony's PlayStation sales slip for any type of cross platform play. Now, I don't think this is Sony saying this. I think this is this guy saying this. But this is
Yeah.
kind of the thing where I was just saying, just don't worry about it. Just sprinkle a little 60 million on it.
Yep.
This is the kind of solution thing here, because basically what he's saying is, well, Sony doesn't have to because they sold a bunch of consoles. So
Sony is
so
too big
you
for
the
their britches.
gamer,
Yeah.
what's that?
Sony's gotten too big for their britches. They are back at the same place they were with the PS2.
Right,
When they released the PS3, they said $600
right.
because they could. They were the king. They felt like they could do whatever they wanted,
Yeah.
and they got hosed for it. Everybody jumped ship and went Xbox.
It's the same
You
thing that
know,
It's the same thing
it,
that Microsoft did when they released the Xbox One. They were
yeah.
top dog. They made a massive mistake by doing that. And I think they're learning from their mistakes. So with this guy's article, yes, they would be encouraging this type of cross network play if they weren't in the position that they're in. I think if they were selling the most, they would still be in the same thing, because another article I saw, they referenced that Sony wanted to do this back in the PlayStation 3 day and Xbox 360 timeframe, and Microsoft said no. And they're like, so why are you changing your stance? Well, can I tell you that an entirely different person is running Xbox right now, and that's the why things are getting changed.
Yeah,
It's
and that's the thing.
because
Phil Spencer. People can come out and say things, and they toe the company line and give you the PR speak. I have never felt with Phil Spencer that he's been disingenuous.
mm,
I honestly believe, and if he's lying, the guy's a great liar then, because
yeah,
I honestly believe that this guy is a gamer at heart. He just wants everybody to have their games, to be able to play with each other. He's never said a bad word about Sony. With all the crap they've thrown at Microsoft, he has always been cordial. He's always congratulated when they released the PS4 Pro. He congratulated them. He has said nice things about their hardware and their games. he plays on that
He plays it.
platform, you know?
I was gonna say
Yeah, I'm
he
like, the
plays it.
guy is just he's like, that's what I wish all and I think that was my moment this in E3 when I was having this like, "Yeah, screw you guys, you're all stupid, you know what you're talking about." And then I watched this interview with him and I watched one of many interviews I saw with him, but the one in particular just kind of got me like, man, this guy just gets it. He even made a comment of like, I don't remember what the question was, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna get like heat over this one." But I was like, "Oh, what's he gonna say?" But he's just like comes out like he doesn't say anything harmful to anybody.
Mhm,
And again, it's like he just wants us all to get along, all to be able to play. He's happy that Sony has success. He's like, we're being successful, and everybody thinks Microsoft's failing. Phil said it. We're very successful on the Xbox One. We're very happy.
mhm,
You don't just because you're number two doesn't mean you're tanking or you're losing money. They are making money. They are doing very well. And they released this for the people that want. There's like look at the PC world, the 1080, right? Someone's gonna
mhm,
pay $700-800 for a friggin' video card.
mhm.
Okay. Yet when Microsoft says, okay, we're going to get a premium console out, everybody loses their mind. Oh, how can you dare charge 500? This thing's cheaper than a video card for a PC. You can't build a PC to do true 4K gaming like the Xbox One X does for that price. You can't. It's it's just not possible. And this is a great deal. And you don't have to buy it. That's the thing. They're not forcing you into a new console. So where like the PS4 Pro, I bought that, and guess what? I really get no benefit out of it because any game written for it has to run in identical on the PS4 Slim or the base model. Where on the X, they're like, nah, you can make it look better than it does on the one because people are paying for it. That's what this thing can do. But if people don't want all that, they can still play the game. It's still going to look great on the one.
Yeah.
To me, it's just a better philosophy. I like the philosophy and mentality that Phil Spencer has, and I think he's doing a stand-up amazing job.
Yeah.
And I wish gamers would kind of look at him and go, "This guy gets it." I want to. It's like I want to be more like Phil. I want to have that mindset of why can't we just get along? Let's just play together. Let's just have fun. If we were playing Overwatch, I don't care what the person that I'm playing against is, whether they're on a PC or whether they're on a PlayStation or they're on an Xbox. What do I care? And think about it. How many more games would there be for Battlefield, Call of Duty, Overwatch? If all of a sudden you can play with PC gamers and PlayStation gamers and Xbox gamers,
Mhm.
instead of having 10,000 people, there's going to be 50,000 people to
Right.
play against. It just benefits us as gamers.
Yeah. The
Gives us more people to play with. More. There's always, yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, this is Jim Ryan, the head of global sales or whatever. This is what he says. Um, for his attempt to defend Sony's block, it says we have a contract with the people who go online with us that we look after them, and that they are within the PlayStation curated universe. Says Ryan, exposing what in many cases are children to external influences we have no ability to manage or look after. It's something we have to think about very carefully. So when I read this, so for one, this is the second time Jim Ryan's put his foot in his mouth, for one. Because he also made the comment about backwards compatibility. I think he's the one that said the backwards compatibility stuff, saying like, nobody does it and blah 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 blah. But here you are in your conference, you're showing another remake or remaster of a game that could be on backwards compatibility. Um,
Well, they want to charge you for it,
right. Well, but my
taking
thing,
advantage of their 80 million customers.
yeah, well, my thing about this that kind of bugs me is, exposing of what many cases are children to external influences, and what he's talking about a curated universe. Like, what do they do for curation? Like, do you have to do a background check? Because as far as I know, you just got to do a gamer tag like anybody else. So I'm
Right. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes zero sense, because a person playing PlayStation to PlayStation, it could be a 12-year-old and a 40-year-old, and the 40-year-old can start cussing at the 12-year-old. There's nothing on PlayStation that's stopping them from doing that. So, but I will say that, in here it said that Polygon reported that Spencer seemed a little offended by Sony's excuse in an interview. The fact that somebody would kind of make an assertion that somehow we're not keeping Minecraft players safe, I found, not only from Microsoft's perspective, but from a gaming industry perspective, like I don't know why that has to become the dialogue. That doesn't seem healthy for anyone. So it was almost like,
There's you can
his
already play Minecraft on there. I mean,
well, yeah,
Minecraft is on the Sony network, and those are Microsoft servers that they're connecting to.
yeah,
So in Minecraft, this just blows my mind. It is an absolute BS response.
right. It's because they
You
can't
know,
do it. I'm sorry. I mean, and I was telling people at work, and I know the guys at Rocket League said they could have it up and running in an hour. They could have
yeah, they
cross,
said Sony said, okay, boom, in less than an hour it'd be up and running.
yeah. And honestly, I know they can probably get it working through their servers and stuff. I think it's just because it'll expose that their their thing is crap, that their infrastructure isn't good. They just don't know how to do it. That's my thing. Is like, I don't know if it's going to be the responsibility of the publishers or what. I think if Sony has to be involved in it and they have to change things on their side, they just don't know how to do it. We're talking about a company who does not know how to update a person's username in a database.
True.
So I'm sorry, and they could charge money for it. People are willing to charge money for it. I just don't think they know how to do it. Or what will come out of it is if you are having poor performance in an online player game, let's say in Rocket League, for example, and you're just constantly losing because you're constantly lagging out or having poor performance because of the infrastructure you are on. And this could go both ways. I'm not saying it's Sony or whatever. It could go
Right.
either way. But that will expose your backend and your infrastructure and how bad it is. So maybe there is a reason why they don't want to do it. But I'm just speculating. That's all speculation.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know, but it sounds like a bunch of BS from Sony, and
Right.
it's just like they've been kind of ignorant towards Microsoft, and they even made some comment about exclusives that was a hit at Microsoft, and it's like Microsoft is just taking the high road here,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I like. I like that Phil's not doing that crap, and
Right.
I will say it seems like Sony is limited now that what's his name's gone. I can't remember his name. Trenton, was it Jack Trenton?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he was like to throw barbs at Microsoft for some reason, but it's like, dude, grow up. But anyways, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
hopefully someday they'll get on board with it so we can all just get along and play. And last thing, I just wanted to say, I thought this was cool. This wasn't at E3, but supposedly Atari has confirmed
Hmm.
that they are going to release a new console called the Atari Box.
Hmm.
And now we don't have any info, and supposedly they're going to have stuff before the end of the year on this, but I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be like, kind of like that Nintendo Classic, if
Right.
it's just going to be something like a retro Atari 2600 that they're going to put out, but that you can connect to a modern day TV
Yeah.
and play all the old games or something.
That'd be cool.
Maybe it'll be something like that, but I actually think it would be cool to see Atari get into the game. Not that we need it, but if Atari got into the business of making a box, like a modern day competing with PS4 and Xbox One, I think that would be cool. And I'd almost have to get it just because it's Atari.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have an exclusive, so why would you want to get it? I'm just kidding.
They'd have all Atari exclusive.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Atari needs to get back into making games. So, but anyways, we'll definitely keep you apprised of the Atari box.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And one thing we didn't mention is Nintendo had their conference, and Ubisoft had a what was their mix? They had a crossover game, a Mario
Rabbids,
game.
Mario,
Yeah,
Rabbids.
Mario Rabbids or whatever. So that was a cool thing. And then there's a new Mario game coming. I didn't see when the release date of the new Mario game was, but it won IGN's Game of the Year, E3 or
That's
whatever.
supposed to be holiday.
Okay, good.
Well, last I didn't see that because I didn't watch the Nintendo one,
All
but
right.
last year when they announced the Switch, they said that Mario game was coming out holiday of this year.
Okay, good.
So
That's good.
I don't know if it's slipped because I didn't see a date or anything. I didn't watch anything with Nintendo this year.
I do find it funny how all Nintendo has to do is show a Mario game and the entire like world stops. It's crazy the power that the Mario franchise has. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because like immediately like IGN and everybody on IGN they were all just like like they were going to pass out and fall over and they're so excited and when you watch the gameplay it's I mean it's a modern Mario game. They haven't had a Mario game in a while, and my kids love the Mario game. Like, don't get me wrong, they're fun and stuff. But and I don't know if it's because they grew up on Mario like myself, but it does crack me up where it's just like we're gonna completely ignore this modern day or this brand new 4K pushing the limit anthem, blah 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 blah. Look it up like underwater, this and that, and it's just like, oh, yeah, that's okay. Nintendo released a Mario game. Sorry, game of the year. So, um,
did is that Rabbids? And this is what I missed, and I probably should have done research. Is that Rabbids Mario game? Is that only on Nintendo,
yes,
or
yep.
is that coming out? Is that going to be available on Xbox and PlayStation as well?
No, it's Switch only. It's a Switch game.
Ah, blows.
Yeah,
Because I don't remember them saying anything.
yeah, it was a Switch game.
Oh, okay.
So looks funny. So, but yeah, the Mario game also came out. So good news for Nintendo people. But all right, we ready to move on? Get to the end here.
Yes.
All right.
Do it.
So if you go to thisxboxlife.com and you click on send voicemail on the right hand side, you can send us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. And we'll answer your question. Two other ways to contact us is by emailing us directly, contact@thisxboxlife.com. And if you use that email, you can also attach your own recordings instead of going through the site. We'll also put those in. Or you can fill out our form on thisxboxlife.com by clicking contact in the top right. And you'll just get prompted for some information, and that comes to us, and we put it in the show. So, a few ways to get a hold of us. We do have one email this week, and it's from Sith Lord 66. He says, I want to start game sharing with a friend. However, something is holding me back, and perhaps you guys can answer my question. If my friend and I game share, if I make a purchase on my console at my house, does it charge his card and vice versa? I would like this to be clarified before I start. Thanks. So, no, when you game share, you don't put any. So, what you do is when you game share, for instance, if I were to game share with somebody like Mark, so okay, here's our example. If I would game share with Mark, what I would do is I'd probably change my password to be something cryptic, bunch of letters and numbers or whatever that I would feel safe giving to Mark. And I would also have two-factor authentication on my account. So when you do sign in, then it prompts my phone or something to do in a code, and then I'd have to read this code to Mark, and Mark would type it in. And then Mark could take that and say, I want to make this my primary console, and do whatever has to be done there. But once that's done, Mark would then sign out and say that this account requires a sign in every time that you change to it instead of auto signing you in. So then that way the person on your console couldn't sign in under your account again. But let's say they did try to sign in under your account again, then they would also have to have the two-factor authentication and stuff. But once they sign in and make, once I would sign in or give Mark and he would sign in and make it his console my primary console, then he could sign out and then all of a sudden my games would show up. Now, when he would purchase something, like say Mark would purchase something, he would purchase it under his account, which has his credit information and his card information. Because when you purchase something, it requires you to sign in and all that stuff. So if the person, when you're on your box and you're buying a game, you're buying it under your account. If you bought under his account by signing in and like figuring out what his two-form factor and all that stuff was, then yes, it would charge his account. But don't worry, I don't think that's easy to do if you kind of follow those steps.
Yeah, and I mean, so number one, if the person is near you, like when I was in Arizona, I game shared with uh, oh, he's changed his name. Commander Sisson is his. I think that's his new name. It was Vengeful Loki.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys have seen him on the show, Bo. So I took my box over to his house and I logged in on his and set his box as my home goal, right? Or my home box. And then he would log into mine and set it as his goal, his home box. And then we set it up that it would require you to log in with the password. So that way I could never log in as him and he could never log in as me. And then I take my box back home, which is his goal, right? So it's almost like his Xbox that I'm taking to my house
Mm-hmm.
and I log in with my own account. So anything I bought would automatically show up as available to download on his console and vice versa.
Yep.
So, but yeah, and I mean, I've been game sharing with people for a couple of years now, and I've never had a problem. If it's not someone that's local that you personally know, and you have to share that password, then again, do what Brun says. Make sure you got two-factor authentication. Make sure it's someone that you do trust.
Yeah.
If you're giving your, like with Brun and Brun and I, we had to trust each other, but you know, if for whatever reason Brun says, I'm just going to go do this, I'm going to log in. I kept Mark's password and, oh, Mark doesn't have authentication on. Then he's going to log in and yeah, he can download whatever he
Yeah.
wants and it's charged to me. So,
Yeah. The key thing
but,
is when you sign in to make sure that that account is you have to sign in every time, and you
yep.
should be good.
So, and I think you can even change your password
After.
after the fact,
Yes.
and I think it will still work.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think, Ron, you said you changed your, because I think
Yep.
you contacted me when they say, hey, I changed my Xbox or my Microsoft password. Let me know if there's any problem. And I logged in and I went to a game that Brun bought and I played it.
Yep.
Like, nope, I've had no problem. And I've
Yep.
been able to still, so that might be another thing. Once it's done, go in and change your password. That way
Yep.
they can't get in. So, but it'll still work. So,
Yep. All right.
and we kind of talk like in, well, if we did this, but it's all Microsoft approved. It's I think we had someone on our show say they called Microsoft support to even ask about it, and they're like, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. I
It's
can.
intended for you to share within the same household,
Right.
but because of our connected world, that's the way it does work. So you aren't breaking any rules. You're not breaking the EULA. You're allowed to do it,
Yep.
but it is only with one other person. So now keep in mind, like in my situation and Brun's as well, because Brun and I are game sharing, my kids, they can't log in and play the games that I've bought on the Xbox that's in my family room that they play on because because if they had to do that, they have to log in as me and that kicks me off of mine.
Right.
But then even then, they don't see anything that Brun bought because that's not his box. They only see the stuff that I've bought. So it's
Mm-hmm.
completely like out of that little game sharing ecosystem. So it
Yeah.
was designed you can have multiple Xboxes in a house. Everybody could share the online gold. You only paid one gold subscription. Everybody gets gold. Everybody can play online. Everybody can play whatever you bought. We're just kind of saying, okay, well, I'm not doing that in my house. I'm going to share. I'm going to do it with my buddy across the street or in another country or another state, whatever. But it does work and it works well.
Yep. All right. Thanks for the email.
Yep.
This xboxlife.com/Twitter will take you to our Twitter account, and this xboxlife.com/Facebook will take you to our Facebook account. That is our group that, like I said, is closed, but just we've had a number of requests in the last couple weeks. We think an E3 kind of boosted that, so come in and request and enjoy. New this week. So the games for this week we have. Let me rattle these off.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding?
Huh? What?
Oh,
Dead
I
Rising
just
4.
clicked that.
Oh, Dead Rising 4, Super Ultra Dead Rising 4 Mini Golf, Season Pass, which is on June 20th. Dead by Daylight, which is also on June 20th. Dungeon Defenders 2, June 20th. Super Bomb Rush, June 21st. Broken Age, June 23rd. Get Even, June 23rd. Grim Legends 2, Song of the Dark Swan is June 23rd. And Chess Ultra is June 23rd. So that's what's coming out there. We just went through a recent change because we kicked over on the 15th last week. That was Thursday. So what you have for Games with Gold, Xbox One, you still have speedrunners until the 30th. But now you have Watch Dogs, which is from the 16th to July 15th. And on the 360, it kicked over to Dragon Age Origins until the end of the month. And also for the DLC for Phantom Dust, it's still good for the month. So,
Hey, Broad.
yes.
I didn't think about this, but Stricken Thought just said, so technically, my new Xbox One X will really be bronze.
Yes.
So when I get that, I'm going to have to call you. Because
Yes, I'll have an Xbox.
I'll have to set that up. So you can tell everybody at work, I have an Xbox One X.
I have an Xbox One X.
It's just in Washington.
Yeah, Wings bar on it.
Yeah.
Wings bar on it. So, well, actually, if I tell people that enough, will you then go buy yourself one for you and send it to me? So then
Probably
you can.
Not.
All right. Well, since it'll be yours, what you do is you send it to me, and then we'll log in. Then you can say you have an Xbox One X. It'll just be here in Ohio.
Sure.
So,
oh.
but anybody who goes to Amazon.com, or that was Games with Gold. If anybody goes to Amazon.com, if you go to our site first, thisxboxlife.com, click on the Amazon, and it'll direct you to there. What that does is it gives us a little bit of piece of the money that you spend on Amazon. No cost to you. We just get a little bit from it, and it helps for the show. Cool. I think that's all. Do you have anything
That's
else?
it. I got nothing.
So we'll have a special guest next week, and Rob will be back next week, and both Mark and I should be back. So with that, I'm Brun.
Our special guest.
Yeah. So everybody have a good night. I'm Brun, BJ Swick 33.
I'm Mark, AK Wingman 709, taking off.